Welcome back, Benchwarmers. Football is around the corner, and I'm so dang excited.
Preseason is underway, and while the first real game isn't until September 4th, we thought we'd start talking about it.
Yeah, I literally couldn't wait any longer to get back into the pigskin. So we're going to have like a little mini-series here where we predict how each division will unfold.
Let's get to it. I'm Corey. Whose house?
I'm Brendan. We then meet. And this is RV from the Bench. Before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see or hear, please don't forget to smash that like button.
Come on, smash it for us. It's free. It's free for you. It's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Hell yeah.
All right, Corey. Well,
Woo!
all good things must come to an end. This is the final division predictions for our RV from the Bench. This is the first one you're watching the last one actually. So this is the NFC West, but make sure you go check out the entire rest of the NFL. We break down each division and kind of give a little bit of a glimpse of where we think each team is going to lie or land. Sorry, that's what I meant. 1 through 4, basically, for each of the divisions. So go check it out. But here we are wrapping it up with my team's division.
Yeah, we started with like you said, we started on the East Coast, and here we are ending on the West Coast with your division, and let's see what we got going here, sir.
Yeah. I say this kind of often, but it's just crazy the parity that is the NFL. There's a couple teams here or there that really are kind of out of it right away, but another strong division, I think, to be honest with you. So we'll see how this one kind of breaks down. If you haven't seen any of the ones, basically we're going 4-4, 3-3, 2-1, kind of work our way up from there. And in the NFC, I start. So I will start.
All right. I hope you're not going to say your Cardinals.
So in last place, the Arizona Cardinals.
Damn it.
And honestly, this isn't really a knock. I just feel like we're not quite there. And I feel like the thing that we need to change, sadly, because I was really hoping he was going to work out, is the quarterback. So I wish this wasn't the case, but the Cards are arguably the worst team in this division. Even if the division is good and the team is good, the division is really good. So personally, I'm hoping this is Kyler's last season here, just because it's just not working out. It has nothing really to do with his ability. It's just as soon as October and Call of Duty drops, it's downhill from there. You know what I mean? So no, I do think that he's just kind of not it. I don't know if it's because of his size, because he's got a freaking cannon arm, and he's quick, so he has that element of run. But it's not quite like Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? So it's something that we got to look into. But we'll see. We'll see what this year can bring. I do think the defense has improved in the offseason with our coach, he being kind of a defensive guy. We added Josh Sweat and Calais Campbell back. I think he's 56 or 57 now, so it shouldn't be too it shouldn't be too bad. But honestly, having a vet presence in the locker room with a bunch of young dudes is only going to be good, because they drafted 5 defensive players with the first 5 draft picks. So we're loading up on defense. We already have a decent offense. Marv looks great going into year 2. James Conner's a solid running back. Yep. Trey
McBride.
Thank you. I was going to say Benson. I don't know why. Trey McBride, I think, is a cool tight end. He only had like 1 receiving touchdown last year, so I think that kind of changes. But I'm honestly assuming that Kyler Murray gets hurt at some point. So there's 4 games right there where we either go 1-3 or 0-4. And it is what it is. So it's just we can't have those lapses. We have to have him, and it seems like he's either hurt or he's in a COD lobby for some period of the season. So that's kind of where I'm at. Again, it could be similar to, we could be 9-8 in 4th place. It's still a decent season, but I don't know. I just don't see it. It's just a tough division. So that's kind of where I land. What about you?
Well, I agree it is going to be a tough division, one of the better ones, I think, in football this year, but I'm going with the Seahawks in last.
Okay.
I think, you bring in Sam Darnold, who had a great year in Minnesota, but was that because of Kevin O'Connell and his coaching, which I think it is.
It kind of is, yeah.
So I think that he takes a huge step back. And Seattle as a whole, they still have is it McDaniel or I can't remember the coach. McDonald, thank you. I knew there was something similar to McDaniels. They had an okay year last year, and I just think without Geno there at quarterback, it's a new system, and I just don't think Darnold's going to be as good. And yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp coming back home to Seattle, that's cool, into Washington.
Yeah.
So there is a weapon or two there. I just don't think they're good enough. I don't think Darnold's going to be good enough, and they're not going to be able to protect him. And yeah, there's just not a whole lot I'm excited about for the Seahawks team. I feel that they're just going to be really bad. I kind of expect them to win like maybe 4 games. I really think that they're going to be one of the bottom dwellers of the entire league this year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think I have them a little bit better than that. which is where I guess I'll lead into in third place. I think I have them coming in third place in this division. Again, a tough division. Maybe a 10-win team, but in third place. Maybe not a 10-win. I'm just saying it could
Yeah,
it could
no.
get up. It could be 9-8, just like the Cardinals. I don't think Darnold is it, but I don't think he's that bad. I think he was just he. I mean, he started with the Jets, bro.
Okay, but
Like,
if it doesn't work with Darnold, you're going down to Drew Lock or Jalen Milrow, the rookie from Alabama.
okay, but he's a rookie, but I actually really like Jalen Milrow.
I
I'm not.
agree.
I don't know what he's going to
I think
be.
long term he's great, but right now this year, like he's not going to be ready to go in and win any games yet. I don't think.
Yeah, I think the only way that Sam Darnold is benched is if he is hurt. I think they're just going to ride with him. I think to your point, he's the best option. I don't
Yeah.
think that there's another replacement on the bench that's like lurking in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he's the long term answer. But there's not really a lot of options out there this past year. Since they didn't want to pay Geno Smith what he thought he was worth. So I do think that this team is a little bit decent. I'm not sure about Mike McDonald yet. I think he's a good coach. That's why I think that they'll be in third place here. But nothing is really selling me on this team being any better than that, to be honest. Walker and Charbonnet in the backfield is pretty decent. I think that's a pretty good tandem. Charbonnet picks up pretty much where Walker leaves off if he's ever hurt, so that's pretty good. They did lose, obviously, DK and Lockett, but they replaced him with Kupp. And I think Jackson Smith-Njigba is pretty good. We'll see if he can kind of take that wide receiver one role and to see if Darnold can get him the ball like he was able to get it to Jay Jets and Jordan Addison in O'Connell's offense. But I do think that some of that is because of Kevin O'Connell. I think that he's really talented, and I think that's why I have even the Vikings kind of being pretty decent, and this year with a rookie JJ McCarthy. So
Yeah.
I do kind of have though a little bit of faith in Clint, I believe it is. Not Gary. Yeah, Gary's the dad. Clint Kubiak. He's the first-year offensive coordinator. He tries to run a little bit more of a balanced attack. He's a lot of run first. And now that they don't have to please Russell Wilson and let him cook, they could really lean on that run first, play action type thing. And I think that Darnold will be a little bit better there with that. I do not think, though, that they have enough to be competing with the big dogs in the NFC. So I just kind of have them middle of the pack. At the beginning of the year, they'll be like, okay, this team might be good, but I think they kind of teeter, maybe go like 500 through the chunk of the middle of the season and kind of dwindle out from there. So third place for me.
All right. Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice.
What about you?
So man, I'm really going weird here in this.
That's okay. Let's make it weird. You like Portland, right? So
and Austin, Texas is pretty cool too. So for third place, I am going San Francisco. I think.
Wow. I mean, they were pretty trash last year. So
I agree, and they lost Drew Greenlaw. They traded Deebo Samuel. Ayuk's coming back, but we don't know how soon. CMC's back, but how long is he going to be healthy? Because that's always a question. It's kind of like Kawhi with the Clippers. Is he going to make it through the whole year?
Whoa.
I'm just saying. So and Shanahan's a great coach. The offense is more of a scheme-based thing. It's kind of like McVay, where I think they'll be good offensively regardless of who's out there. I just think their window is come and gone. Like they had their chance. They went to 2 Super Bowls. Bosa's gone as well on the defensive side. They just all the pieces that were known. They still have Kittle, but again, it's like Kelsey, older, a little slower. Is he going to be able to make it through the whole year?
Kittle's a fucking beast. Excuse me.
I agree. They're beat up. They've played a lot of football and a lot of playoff runs the last couple of years, and I just think that this is the end of the run. I think Brock Purdy gets exposed as you're not that good without some really good weapons around you, and overall the Niners struggle and end up in third place. Now, they could win 6 games, maybe 7, kind of like last year, but I just don't think there's a whole lot left for this team as far as competing for a division title.
Okay, all right, and I'll just jump into there because it sounds like we both have the same first place. I'm assuming I've got the Niners coming in second place. I get the injury concerns that you mentioned, and I do understand the loss of key veterans, but they drafted defense really, really heavy, and they brought Robert Saleh back. You're pretty big. You mentioned the loss of defensive coordinators in Detroit as one of the reasons. Well, with Saleh in 2019, now granted, it took a minute to build it up, but he kind of got his feet under him now. And with Saleh in 2019, they allowed the 8th fewest points, the 2nd fewest yards, and had the 6th most turnovers, and obviously made it to the Super Bowl. Granted, they lost to Patrick Mahomes in the dynasty, but making it there is pretty good. And they didn't get blown out like Patrick just did. So
I wonder how many guys are on the team now that still played for Saleh when he was there. I'm sure the turnover is not.
Probably, dude. I think they have 11 11 new total players on defense. I get they start 11. I don't think all 11 starters are new, but I think they have a lot of new ones. But I'd say a couple are lingering. That is 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe now. So I get what you're saying there. But I think his schemes and the way he coaches is what is going to kind of help the defense there. So I don't think they're making the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm saying when I mentioned the Super Bowl. But I do just saying he got a head coaching gig from his work on the defensive side of the ball, right? So now, granted, that didn't pan out either, but who really does pan out with the Jets these days?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Aaron Rodgers plays 2 seconds of a game. It's kind of hard to,
A little rough. True. So I still think that Shanahan's an offensive genius. And you mentioned Christian McCaffrey, and this is kind of I went and looked at the trends here. Since he's been in San Francisco, he has good years every other year. So when he first got there, he was dealing with an injury. Then the very next season, that was 2 years ago, he led the league in rushing, total scrimmage yards, and total touchdowns. He was, and then on the cover of Madden. So once he was on the cover of Madden, then he got hurt and missed a bunch of time last year. So he has those waves. And I think that this year, again, I'm not a Niners fan. My sister's a Niners fan. Every single time she posts something about the Niners, all I literally write in the comment is boo. That's all I write. So I'm not rooting for him. Yeah, exactly. I'm not rooting for him. But now that now that Brock Purdy is paid, I get what you're saying. Maybe he's not it, but I think Shanahan is similar to that Kevin O'Connell build where he's just like, hey, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo got a freaking another starting gig from that. So, I mean, if he can make anybody decent, he can try to make Brock Purdy decent. Also, a man of Christ, so a little bit of a fan of Brock Purdy, but wrong team. So last year, bad. This year, turnaround. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Now, I don't think they're going really far in the playoffs at all, but I do think that they can grab second place and maybe make the playoffs this year. So that's who I've got in second. But you had them already in third. So who do you have? Wait, you haven't said my team yet. Who do you have in second?
I am shocking the world. I have your Cardinals.
Okay. I just realized that. I was like, wait a minute, dude. You haven't said the Cardinals yet.
I think, the growth on last year, they had 8 wins. And as you mentioned, Murray didn't have a great year, but he had a decent year. Marvin Harrison Jr. gets another year under him, some more muscle. I think he gets better.
He looks buff now, to your point.
He looks massive. He looks amazing. So him and Kyler get another year together. Excuse me. And you mentioned James Conner as well. I think the offense is there. Trey McBride is going to have a better year as far as scoring touchdowns. He had a lot of yards. He just couldn't get in the end zone last year until the end. I think
that's got to change. Yeah.
That's going to change early on. I expect him to score in the first 2 weeks, if not the first game. And you mentioned the defense better and more improved from last year, and middle pack last year. So if they can just go a little bit more improved, get closer to maybe
top 12. Okay.
If they can get in the top 10 to 12 area and still play offense and not turn over the ball and stay healthy as far as Kyler Murray is concerned, I think they could win 10 or 11 games and really push the Rams for a division chase here. And I don't think they're going to win it ultimately, but I think they can get second and get a wild card out of it. So again, I know I'm going crazy.
That's not that crazy, to be honest with you. You make some good points.
In the NFL, as you mentioned, to parity, there's a lot of teams that go from 4th to 1st all the time, or 3 new teams make the playoffs that didn't make it the year before. And this is just one of those teams I feel like everyone's kind of overlooking, and it's the Cardinals. They're kind of still in the same spot they were before, but they've kind of slowly built it correctly, and I think this is the year that finally all comes together and they have a chance to make a run at a playoff spot.
I don't think you're crazy. That's kind of like what we were talking about in the AFC West. Those top 3 teams are just they're just good, and all of these teams are so questionable. Niners are good, but injuries. Brock Purdy, but they paid him, so it's So I get it, and I don't think that's too crazy at all. But you haven't said the one team that both of us haven't said, and I think that's where we're kind of at. The Rams. I've got the Rams, LA Rams. My grandmother, rest in peace, she was a huge Rams fan, and when they moved back to LA, I made it a point to try to like the Rams because of her, and they're finally back home, right, kind of thing. And I just really couldn't bring myself around to root for them. But I secretly kind of do a little bit, because they're the home team. I don't mind them as much. Again, I'm a Cardinals fan, so it's interdivision, but the Cardinals haven't been good since, Kurt Warner, and I think he's been retired for a decade now. So, I got a lot to just sit around and wait for week 5, and we're out of it. And all right, now who am I going to root for? So, I'm running with the Rams. I think, again, the biggest thing, and I'm sure you're going to mention this too, is Matt Stafford. There's been a lot of talk about his back and whether or not that's going to be a lingering injury. It looks like he's back out on the practice field, so hopefully he's healthy, not only for week 1, but for the whole season. And as long as Stafford stays healthy, I think they got a shot not only in the in the NFC West, but I think the NFC as a whole. I do think there's a couple other good teams Eagles, obviously, Commanders, obviously, anybody from the NFC North, as we mentioned. I think there's a couple of things. The Lions, especially, but I do think that I think they have a fighting chance in the NFC. The young defense had them in a fight last year against Philly, and then the NFC to go to the NFC Championship game. And really, it was the offense who couldn't close it out. Now, granted, it was snowing, so they were 10 yards short of basically winning that game, and then hosting the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. But it didn't work out that way. So I do like Cooper Kupp, but he's kind of moved on a little bit. And I think Adams actually is a pretty big upgrade. Not only literally big, as in bigger in size, but a really huge tactician. So he's not missing out, because Kupp was like that too. He's a really good route runner. So he's going to be exactly where he needs to be for Stafford, exactly when he needs to be there. And he's a bigger target to freaking get. So they just paid Puka. Still getting better and better every year. They just paid Kyron Williams, so now he's happy. I really think this team is dangerous. I'm looking at like 11 or 12 wins. Sean McVay is a wizard. And
he's
I think
he's gonna 40 yet.
That's scary. So he's got, if he feels like it, he's got a lot of time left coaching in the NFL. So he's gonna have them honestly in a good spot to win pretty much every week. And again, as long as health is on the table, then I think this team is going to be really, really dangerous. Obviously, you're there with me. What else can you add here?
I was going to say, I think you pretty much spelled it out.
Sorry, I took it all out there. Sorry.
There's nothing to argue. I mean, Matthew Stafford's health is the biggest concern. Sounds like he's better. He was able to practice a couple days in a row this week, so it sounds like the back is getting better, which is good. You mentioned they paid Kyron Williams. They brought in Devontae Adams, who's not only a bigger guy physically, who now is kind of his Calvin Johnson, if you think about it, the back end
of the Megatron's pretty crazy, but I see your point.
And then you have Puka Nacua running the other kind of under routes and stuff. You have
big
Kyron Williams, who you mentioned. You still have what's the running back they drafted from Michigan from the year before they went?
Blake Corum.
So they've got a lot of pieces.
And I think they have a good Tyler Higgins. I was going to say, I think they have a good tight end. Yeah.
And they drafted, I can't remember the kid's name, but from Oregon, he was the most receiving yards in Oregon history as a tight end. So
that not bad.
Probably going to find a role here with McVay, because as you mentioned, he is a offensive guru. So the defense, Jared Verse gets better with another year under his belt. I think. Who's the guy they added the nose tackle to? I can't remember off the top of my head. Man, I can't remember his name.
Von Miller?
No, he went to Buffalo, right? No,
I don't remember. No, that's where he was. Washington.
Von Miller went to Washington. But yeah, the Rams they have it all. I think they have the full, complete team. And one of the few things too this year for the Rams, which is kind of abnormal, is ever since McVay's been a coach there, every offseason they lose 4, 5, 6 coaches to other positions, if not
head coach. True.
That's true. Zach Taylor. There's been multiple, but
the Falcons head coach right now.
There's been multiple years where they just lost a bunch. This year, all the same coaching staff. Everyone's coming back.
Continuity is key.
They did bring in Alex Van Pelt, who used to be the offensive coordinator last year for the Patriots and the Browns a couple years before that. And he's an offensive assistant. He's not really a coordinator, but his job is going into the defensive rooms with the defensive coaches, and they're planning an offense and they're playing defense, and then they're telling each other how they would counteract each other's things. So he's kind of trying to learn the other side of the ball, which I think ultimately gets him a head coaching job down the line. But I just think having more smart people in the building, as the Rams do, never hurts. And I think they're just going to be a dominant team. Again, if Matthew Stafford is healthy, everything else should take care of itself. The Rams could win 12, maybe 13 games. And again, I'm with you at the top. They should be a top 3 team in the NFC, if not right there with the Eagles at the end of the day. They should be competing, if not possibly getting that number 1 seed and hosting in the playoffs all the way through.
I think they can. And Terrence Ferguson is the tight end you were talking about.
I should have remembered that last name. Come on.
Right? That's your freaking family name. I mean, not literally, but close to. I mean, not your specific.
Yeah, my mom.
Down the line.
Remember that name. Damn it.
Come on, man. Come on.
I'll remember him now.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, they got a lot of good points. You made a lot of good points. We kind of combined points there. So I just think they're a really dangerous team. Obviously, really dependent on Matt Stafford, because it is a gigantic drop off to Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't know if you watched, speaking of, go ahead, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, and an even further drop to Stetson Bennett if we get to that point.
Facts. Yeah, true. I don't know if you watched I know you mentioned quarterback when you were talking about Patrick Mahomes. I don't know if you watched receiver on Netflix, but Devontae Adams was on it when he was in Vegas. And one of the things that he hated the most was who was throwing the ball to him. And I don't know if you remember, but it's the guy who's the backup. So he was like saying some not nice things about him for obvious reasons, bro. When you're out on the field as the receiver and you're running straight over the middle, and the quarterback can see the corner cutting or the safety cutting, and he still puts you in that position to just get lit up. you could end not only your career, but like your way of life, depending on, how hard that hit is. We've seen some pretty bad injuries in the NFL, no matter how much they try to curb the hits. Yeah. So if it goes anywhere south for Matt Stafford, this team is done. Because I just don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is anywhere close to the guy. And he already doesn't have the number one, I guess you can argue number two, depending on how you feel about Puka, wide receiver, really rooting for him. So yeah, it's super dependent on Matt.
You go from Matthew Stafford to, if the play that you draw breaks down, he can find a way to survive and make something out of it. But if it's Garoppolo, we got to stick to the play exactly. And if you can't get anything out of the exact thing we drew up, throw it away or take the sack and move on. Like, you can't ad lib and make things up on the fly. That is a Stafford thing. That is a Mahomes thing. Josh Allen. There's few and far between of guys that can do that. And Garoppolo, as we've learned in the past, over his future or his career, it's not one of his specialties. So,
maybe Bill Belichick trading him away all those years ago to San Francisco was kind of smart. I mean, granted, they didn't do anything after Tom left, but I'm just saying, would they have done anything with Garoppolo anyways?
But even if Garoppolo would have stayed, how much longer would he was going to have to sit there way behind?
I don't remember how long, but it was probably at least another 2 years.
At least, if not 3 or 4. Like, he wasn't going to do that. So they had to do what they had to do at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that is how we see the NFC West playing out. Let us know in the comments below who you've got coming out of the NFC West.
Or hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at RVUFTB, and let me know why I'm crazy picking the Cardinals to get second. I know I've made some weird picks for all these different divisions that we've done. Go back and check out the other episodes now that we've wrapped them all up as well.
Exactly. So appreciate everybody for stopping by. Thank you as always for seeing things from our view from the bench. I'm Brendan.
I'm Corey. Like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace. It's almost football season, baby. Let's go.
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.